This is one of the scariest encounters I have heard in a long time. This story has everything from Bigfoot, Dogman, UFO, orbs, you name it. We're going to talk about it. We've got evidence we're going to go over, some audio that we're going to get into. This is a good one, guys. Very scary. You don't want to miss it. But before I do, I just want to say thanks for hanging out with me tonight. If you've got an encounter you would like to send me, I'd love to hear it. You can send it to me by email at mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. But let's jump right into the story. Sienna, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Well, I'm excited to have you here. I'm glad you sent me that email. A lot of interesting stuff to go through. So if you would, just kind of take us back to the very beginning and just kind of walk us through the encounter.
In the past year, around my home, we've had a lot of different sounds, smells, things that were just off for a while. We had, for a long time, I assumed it was UFO stuff because we had an actual UFO thing happen here. I live in small town Millbury. It's very quiet towards Sutton. All woods, swamps. I have 2 ponds around me, a lake down the street, and then further back behind the woods behind my house is swamp area. So the UFO stuff was going on, and I assumed all of this was connected to that. I started hearing things in the woods, kind of this late at night steps coming closer and closer. And then I would hear it up to literally where there's just a lot of foliage and this tree that I have here. And I would go inside. I'm I was scared. And then slowly it started to amp up. And one night I'm sitting outside. This was probably about a year ago. I'm sitting outside and I see this huge orb that's yellow and it's got weird stuff kind of in it. And it was going across the inside of the trees. I kept wondering how it was going through the trees, at the speed that it was going and what it was. But of course, as soon as I try to pull out my phone, I could it was gone by then. Um, and then things kept amping up. My son, he started to really wonder what all the stuff was going on, the noises that we were hearing. Um, and so that's where I started to kind of wonder, we started looking more stuff up. We already knew about cryptids. We believed in them. We have this we're Christians. We believe that Nephilims are still around with hybrids and whatnot. So for us, it wasn't really surprising the stuff that was going on, but it was just it was more where we are. Because a lot of people every time I tell people, do you believe in Bigfoot? They laugh at me. I'm the Bigfoot girl at my job. Everybody laughs at me. And if that's my shtick, I don't really care. They can laugh at me all they want, but I warn them. I'm it's out there. Um, so I see the orb, it goes by, I freak out. But I've already seen many things like this. I'd seen orbs in the skies, but this was in the trees and it was very large. On May 9th of last year, 2024, I had my first weird encounter with just vocalizations. Um, we're outside. It's middle of the day. I think that's the weirdest part. It's middle of the day. I think it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We had just come home from picking some early dinner and we're going up the steps and my son's Mom, what is that? And I had heard it, but I didn't really put much thought into it. I just kept going up the stairs. And when he pointed it out, I was yeah, that is really strange. So I go further out onto my deck and I'm listening and these sounds are getting more closer and intense. So I'm what is this? I had no idea what it was. I thought it was a UFO. So this whole time, I think the sounds that I sent you the video. Hello? We're listening to it. We're hearing it. And my son is like the smart one in my family. He goes, "Mom, record it." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, good idea." So we're like sitting at the end of the deck and I have my phone out. So like the reason that the video's kind of like face down is because I just wanted the sound to be captured. So the first like in the recording, you just hear like a loud like I thought it sounded like a siren. Like it was kind of like woo woo, like this weird siren. And I had no idea what it was, and I thought, "Is this, like, aliens? Like, are we being invaded?" Like, I don't know what this was. And then I just had this, like, internal feeling to say hello. Like, I don't know what it was, but something was like, "Talk to it." And I said hello, and my voice carries, it's very loud, and I think that maybe whatever this was, like, thought I was speaking to it, and I don't know what they thought I was, maybe one of them, but it actually responded with, like, a mimicking, like, sound that was very high pitched, and it rang through the woods, like, my son was just speechless next to me, and after that, I kinda waited, and nothing else happened, and I didn't hear that sound again. Fast forward a few I think this was in it was, like, late October maybe, I'm coming home me and my son never go out at night anymore, like, after that because we just kept feeling like something was constantly watching us. And so when I go out with him, I go pick something up at the store, we were gone, it's literally down the road, it's a convenience store. We left for, like, 7 minutes. By the time we make it back, the sun went down so fast. And I make it back, and it's, like, dark dusk kind of, and I get out of the car. My son is getting closer to our stairs, and he books it up the stairs, and I immediately smell what he smelled. Like, it was okay, this is gonna sound really strange because like, this is really, like, pinpointed, but I smell what smelled like I've smelled animal dead body. It smelled like that with garbage, like sweetness, and the smell of, like when you've left oil sitting for a long time on the stove? Like, when you've cooked something and it's, like, all of the combinations, it was, like, just that. I could smell the combination, and it was disgusting. And immediately, my first thought was, like, "I wanna run." Like, immediately, I felt like, "I want to run." And my son booked it up the stairs, and I was like, wait for me." But I wanted to figure out what that smell was, and I was, like, following it. Like, I was going like this, smelling it, and I could literally follow the scent. Like, it was moving. So, I would smell this way, it was gone. I would smell that way, and it was, like, still going this way until I made it onto my deck, and behind my deck, there's nothing but, like, huge bushes. So, like, I if you saw it right now, it's like anything could hide in there. It The smell, as I'm following it, it, like, recedes more and more, and then it's just completely gone. I don't know what that was. But then in December of 2024, after many nights of, like, hearing things, many nights of, like, the smell, just different occurrences, I'm on the phone with my sister, I'm cooking in the middle of the day again. It was probably, like, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm making dinner, and my kitchen faces my backyard, like, directly, like, you can see perfectly into it, but I wasn't paying attention to that. I tell my son, "Go take out the trash." He goes to bring it down. My son's 11, by the way. I don't think it's, like, labor abuse or anything to make your kid take out the trash. But, I tell him, "Go bring down the trash," and he goes down, he's taking it. I'm on the phone with my sister. Everything seems completely fine. I'm totally distracted. But something rocks me, and it's the sound of my son running and screaming up the stairs. I don't like, as a parent, I'm sure you're aware that, like, when your child is afraid, it, like, does something inside of you, like, he shook me just but immediately it's like this, like, mama bear reaction. So he runs up the steps, and I literally feel my house shaking from how hard he's stepping so fast. into my house. Um, he runs in my living room. He looks straight at me. He's screaming, "There's a man. There's something looking at me. It's in the woods. It's right in our yard." And I was like, "What?" And I'm not understanding what he's saying. He's not making sense. Like I'm just like I thought it was a person. I really thought I was expecting to come out to see a person in my yard scaring my son. As I'm walking out my door, this one here actually, um, when you're walking out of this door, my apartment's very small. When you're walking out of this door, he didn't even close the door when he came and he just came to scream at me. And I walk out, and as I'm walking out, still in my house, I'm seeing it at the edge of the wood line. The size, it's black and it's massive, and you can see actual muscle. Like it's like this beefed up, like almost like a chunky bodybuilder. Like it's just like this big shoulder, big bicep like thing that's so I'm going to go back a little bit and rewind and tell you what my son saw. My son says that when he went down the steps, he felt something and he was already feeling kind of anxious. And when he made it down to the trash bins, he said, "I felt the hair in the back of my neck lift, mom. And I knew something was looking at me." And I turned and I looked straight at those woods and I saw nothing. He's going up the steps, and mind you, I'll show you my steps. Like, this is my steps. Okay. I have neighbors downstairs. They have stuff, but those are my steps. The trash is right down the way. Um, when he's going up the steps, he's halfway up them, like not even halfway. I want to say like 5 steps up, and he just has the urge to look again. He just knew something was watching him. When he turns this time, he sees it standing there, just arms at its sides, standing, looking straight at him. I said, "What does it look like from like front?" Because I'll tell you what I saw. He said everything was black. Its face was black. Its body was black. Everything was black, mom. It was a gray day because here in Massachusetts we had a very strange winter. We I believe I actually looked at the weather and I remember thinking that that day was surprisingly warm. It was like 50 out with like um a lot of fog. So it was very like to see it, the contrast, it's unreal. Like it's this blackness that is scary. Like it's this shadow thing. It's this big it's surprising that you can see any definition because of how dark he is. I'm assuming it's a he. So, my son says that it's looking straight at him and he knew it had been watching him. He just knew and he ran up. He came, he yelled at me as I'm walking out. I'm looking straight at it, turning away and walking onto terrain that is so difficult to walk on that there was an investigator here. Um, So, uh, Bigfoot Research Organization, I reached out to them because I couldn't sleep for days. But that very night, I reached out to them. And when I reached out to them, I told him what we had seen. But it doesn't even end there because I'm just going off, like, I'm going crazy right now. I'm sorry. I have like so many different sides to this story. Okay. So, on top of that, parts of the story, on top of that, when I went inside, when I had seen it, I immediately like was on. I'm still on the phone with my sister, and I go. Deborah, what I just saw is not human. I don't know it what I just saw is not human. I couldn't stop saying that. I repeated it like 10 times. I was like, "It's not human. What I just saw is not human." And she was like, "Senya, is it Bigfoot?" And I was like, "Dude, I don't know. I can't." My mind didn't wanna say the word. Like, I couldn't my lips couldn't formulate it even though I've said the word a million times in my life. I couldn't it's almost like my mind didn't wanna connect, like, what was reality in front of my face with what fantasy has been my whole life. Um, um, it's, like, amazing how they walk, like, it's amazing how they can get through like, he was gone like that. He disappeared from my sights like that. I said to my son, "Immediately go inside." My son goes inside. And I think, "Okay, I need to shut the door." I don't know why he was looking at my son, like, my mind's going crazy. My mind's thinking, "Does he want him? Is there a certain interest in him? Like, it was my kid, it wasn't me, like, why him alone?" You know, I'm just thinking, "What does he want with us?" Like, I don't even know. I think my mind was just immediately, like, this panic of, like, it wants something to do with us, and I need to shut the door, and, like, I'm safe if I close the door. Which is, like, kind of ironic because it's, like, the biggest creature you've ever seen or laid your eyes on, but, I go inside, and I can't stop looking out I'm still on the phone with my sister, and I'm looking out the window in my kitchen. Forgot about dinner, it's, like, probably burning behind me, and I'm, like, looking out this window, I'm on the phone with my sister, and I see another one. It ran from one tree, it was, like I don't know how I didn't see it before. I was looking for minutes, and all of a sudden it runs across from one tree to another, and I lose that one too, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I just saw another one." Like, I'm like, Deborah, I just saw another one, but it's different colored." Like, I just saw another one. I'm panicking. And I'm like, this can't be human." Like, and I'm explaining to her, like, this one's brown, it's very small, it's got, like it's almost like the patches of, like, fur look like it changes a little bit, like, it looked like it was dark brown, but then, like, its face was a little lighter. So, like, I almost wanted to convince myself that I saw a person. Like, I'm like, "What?" Because it was also much smaller. So this one was but I saw its whole this one I saw its whole body. Like, the side profile, the whole thing running across. And it was lanky, and it wasn't big like the other one, it just looked so different that I didn't wanna believe myself, like, I was just like, "Am I really seeing this? Like, what's" but I did. I saw what I believe to be the juvenile Bigfoot, possibly that I had heard in May. It maybe not, maybe there's more of them, I don't know, but, like, one of the things about this town, is that nobody hangs out outside. Me and my son are what you would consider in this town kinda like the poor folk, because everybody else is, like, wealthy, big homes, everybody's always inside playing video games, or my son is always outside. He lives outside. My son plays basketball outside. My son is always making noise outside, and things started clicking. After I saw that, it started to click, like, days where he would be outside with his friends, like the neighbors downstairs, and they would mention how they would speak and something was mimicking them, and something was making sounds like them, like and he my son would tell his stepfather, my fiancé, and he would say, "Dad, like, I'm telling you, like, I heard it's making like, trying to sound like us, like, something's making it's like another kid or something." But we can't find it, like, we don't even know where it's coming from because sometimes it sounds like it's from back there, sometimes it's over there, like, we can't tell, and I remember thinking, "They have wild imaginations, like, they're playing outside and I don't see anything, they're hearing stuff that I'm not seeing," like, I mean, I look at him out the window, like, I'm not seeing anything, but now I believe him, and now I believe them, even the little girls downstairs said it was true. Um, so much. It's it's so much. So, including I had sent you, I know this is really bizarre, but I sent you like feces that I found in the trail behind my house when I was on a walk with my dog. Mind you, this is the same trail that my dog once would not keep going. Like, we were supposed to leave out of the trail and he stopped, and I'm pulling him and he would not go. And I had to literally like physically force my dog. And I kind of like, I'm the kind of person that when I don't know if it's discernment, Holy Spirit, like, but something always tells me in the name of Jesus immediately. Like, as soon as something like that occurs, I'm always like, in the name of Jesus, I have authority. I have authority now in this place, no matter where I go, because he is with me. And I just keep going. And my dog kept going. So I felt like whatever he was sensing, maybe it wasn't predator, like just random coyote or like bear or anything like that. I'm thinking this has to be something supernatural. Um, this scat, like this poo, was the size of like a soccer ball. Like, this thing was so big that I was compelled to take a picture of it. I mean, who does that? Who takes a picture of feces? So, that's another thing that happened over the past year. My son is finally getting better. Um, it has not been easy. I've seen, like I said, I've seen things my whole life. I've unfortunately like seen way too much of what um dark things are out there lurking. So that first night when I had seen them, it wouldn't stop replaying in my mind for days. I couldn't sleep. But that first night, it kept replaying in my brain, and I kept seeing that little one, and it was like almost like a recording. It just kept playing over and over, and I kept seeing it with such detail. Um, and it was like scary, like because I thought I don't want to see them again. I don't want them come around again. I want my son safe. Like, I could not sleep. So I message the FRO, and immediately the next morning I get a response. They want to come immediately. They make it not even 24 hours later, they're here. When he comes, I show him like the recording of the vocalizations. They tell me that they believe it's a juvenile. I tell them my experience, and they tell me that the reason they came so quickly was because just 3 days prior, there was a sighting 20 minutes away from me. So, what they believe is that they are crossing through. This is kind of like a point of passage for them. But what scares me is that they've been here more often than I would like to assume. It's just like passing through. I feel like they watch us. I feel like one of the things I've thought about is we're Christian, and a lot of people who are Christian have had experiences. And I kind of wonder what it is like. What are they seeing? What are they sensing? What is it they desire? Like, I have so many questions that I don't have answers to. But I do believe it is because there's something in my son that's so bright and beautiful and faithful. Um, it's so innocent and old school. Like, my kid's not like kids. He is not like kids that are today. Like, this kid reads the Bible at night. This kid desires a relationship with God. This kid plays outside till like his knees are covered in dirt, and he enjoys life the way people used to. And I think we're their like personal television because when the BFRO came and they said all this, I couldn't stop questioning things. A few days later, I made it out there and I went to where they would have been looking at us. Um, you can see clearly. Like, you can hide behind all of those trees and you can see clearly to my house. Clear, like there's just through a little branch crack, like you just look through and you're seeing my whole house. And I just wonder how long they've been watching.
First of all, I'm glad that your son's okay. I'm glad that you're okay, and that could have went all kinds of different ways. And I think that you're very smart raising him that way. And there's power in the name of Jesus, and I talk about that a lot on this channel. And obviously, it had a major impact on your son and you. But in what ways since then has that changed your life?
I don't feel crazy, as crazy as you would think. I tell people, and I don't really care if they laugh, but I feel validated in all of the experiences surrounding the encounter. Um, I feel validated because I thought there was something out there for a long time and I didn't see it, but I felt it and now I've seen it. I'm also terrified and I try not to be because I'm a faithful woman, but I think they're coming out more and there's a reason for that. And times are very different. And I just wonder sometimes, are they going to just fully let loose one day? Because I've had nightmares about it. Them just storming into my house. Um, in fact, I had nightmares about it before I even saw them, which is really crazy. I dreamt about them. My son has dreamt about them. And about a month and a half ago, my son had a dream. He said he was waking up in the morning and he heard a voice say to him, Bigfoot is here. And he got startled. And then the voice said, Do not fear, the Lord is with you. And he felt like immediately he was just like, I'm okay. But I believe it. I believe the voice. I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's an angel of the Lord. I don't know if it's the Lord himself, Holy Spirit. But I do believe that they're here. I think they hide really well. I think they cloak. I believe in a lot of things that many people think is crazy. But I've seen so many things that there's no denying that they can do amazing things. And that's the thing, they're amazing. They're more than human. They're more than animal. There's something else that people just don't understand. So the supernatural aspect of it, I just wish that people would um understand that there's more to this world than meets the eye. There's something very it's special. It's terrorizing. It can be a wonderful thing, but it's also something to be very cautious about, and cloaking is definitely one of those things that I fear and think that they're definitely doing, even around me. I feel like they've done it. This has changed my life in the way that I will never have full peace again in terms of going out by myself in the woods like I used to. I do it, and sometimes I have to push through and tell myself I'm okay, and sometimes I just walk right back home, and I can't. So, hopefully that changes, but sometimes maybe it's good to listen to the voice that tells me, like, "Go home."
I definitely agree with that. You always want to listen to that. I know in law enforcement, where I was talked about that, your sixth sense, that voice kept me alive several times. And I believe that's God that gives that to people, if you listen to that. And these things are really strange. They do a lot of things that we just can't explain. And I've heard so many encounters that just don't make sense unless you check off that more than flesh and blood box, right? Like my opinion on these things have changed a lot, but there's got to be more to them than that. I talk to a lot of Native American people, and they talk about them watching the tribes, especially the women and the children. And a lot of the times they would come into the tribe and steal the women and the children. And so I think a lot of times, you can't throw a blanket on it and say that they're all bad, but I think a lot of times they don't have good intentions, right? Like I think that sometimes they are like that. I think they're super inquisitive. And almost always without fail, if you see one, there's another one really close by. So I wouldn't be surprised if you have multiple creatures around the property. What do you think, in your opinion, that they want? What do you think they're there for?
That's funny that you brought exactly what I was gonna say next. My fiancé is a trucker. He's gone all the time. And I think they see me a lot with my son playing outside, and it's just us. Um, I sing a lot. I like worship loudly, and maybe it sounds like callings. Um, but they see us alone a lot. Um, It just so happens that whenever we've had experiences, me and my son have been alone. Um, I don't know if I can account that to just coincidence or not. It doesn't feel like it to me. I feel like it's very intentional. The times that they have come closer and I can hear like literal bipedal footsteps. I can hear them like coming closer and closer. It's been when I'm alone here and my fiance is not home. So, I think that they want I think that they're also like very big family creatures. And I think that's why many times people have experienced like good things with them. But the problem with this is that I tell my son said one time, can we bring them apples or something? And I said, absolutely not. Do you want to know why? And I said, even if they're nice creatures, even if they wanted to be friends, it's like a German Shepherd being best friends with a 5-pound Chihuahua. Just playing around, they can kill you. Just being friendly and wanting something from you, like without even intending to hurt you, they can hurt you. Like they're huge, they're massive. Like this thing had to, I want to say it had to have been 8 feet, maybe larger. Um, the mass of him was what really scared me. It's the mass. Like the size isn't just in height. It's like this mass, like that's so intimidating. Intimidation is not even the right word. But their size is so big, their strength is so strong that you can't even be friendly with these things because you can't trust it.
There's a lot of circumstances when they only come around like that, and it's really strange to me that they do that. They just kind of know for whatever reason. I don't know what their intentions are, but that's kind of their MO. A lot of times they do that in a lot of different cases. And, I don't think until you've seen one of these things, you really understand how big and how massive they are. It's when I had my encounter was, I don't know what to do with it. It was the biggest thing I'd ever seen at 14 years old. Like compared it to the biggest linebacker you can think of, it's bigger than that, right? Leaves a massive impact on you. I'm like you. I don't go out into the woods alone anymore, especially way out in the woods. I've heard too much. I've seen stuff. I've heard way too much. And I think they're like people. Sometimes you run to the right one, you're going to be okay. But you run to the wrong one, you're going to have a really bad day. And, you got to really, be careful and keep your head on the swivel. But if you had, I'm always curious, if you had the opportunity to see one of these things again, would you want to see one?
Yep. I speak it every day. I come out here every night. Um, I'm waiting for them. I don't think it's the last time I will see them. As scary as it is, I think that the reason that humans are so enthralled by this is because we have this innate nature to somehow know what greatness is. And you can encounter God in your living room, but when you can encounter something that is so right in your face, something that is so massive, powerful, like, and you can live to tell about it, it gives you like a sense of pride. I know that it's egotistical to say that, but I can't believe I've seen one. It I would love to see another one. I would love to see many of them, but from afar.
Yeah, I think from afar is the key word there, and I can understand why you feel that way. I think a lot of times, seeing something that's not supposed to be there is very intriguing. We're very curious by nature. And so, I think about it a lot. Like, I wonder how many times people have had these encounters and they just bury it and they won't talk about it. How many people are out there, right now watching this show and they're like, I've had that encounter, but I will not talk about it. And, you're very fortunate to have seen one of these creatures, to have that encounter, and nothing really happened except for, obviously scaring you guys to death. But to be able to talk about it and come forward with it, that takes a lot of guts to do that. So I know that for whatever reason with Bigfoot, there's always a lot of, I say always, sometimes there's a connection between orbs. And I know you mentioned UFOs early on. And my dad had an encounter with a UFO 5 miles probably from my spot where I had my Bigfoot encounter. And I talked to a lot of people that have those connections. What do you think that connection's all about?
I think that there's a lot to do with demonic affiliations. I think that somehow they're all, there's okay, so biblically speaking, we have like God sits at the throne and he has all of these ranks beneath him, right? And I believe that there are demonic and um like wicked things that have their ranks as well. I think that UFO are extremely intelligent, like not UFO, aliens, and what people call aliens to me are just demonic, like Nephilim things. I think they're extremely intelligent. I think that the Bigfoot, Dogmen, which I told you I also had an encounter with, um, I think that they all have some kind of rank in this. I think that there's some kind of wickedness that keeps them close by each other. I think that there are definitely absolutely portals. I believe that I have experienced witnessing some kind of thing that um, my UFO encounter was very special because I believe there might be some kind of portal thing behind my in my woods. Um, and every single time I saw them, they would be right above those specific trees, like nearly every single time. So I think that there's something going on with the portal stuff. I think we have different dimensions we're working with here. Like I think that Dogman and Bigfoot, they can step in and out of these realms. I think that's why people have seen them and then suddenly they're gone. Um, UFO orbs. The orb I saw, I can't even say it was UFO. It was this big ball thing. Like I don't even know what that was. Honestly, I haven't even delved into the orb thing. I couldn't even tell you what I think about that. I think that it's all just connected. I think they all really just go in and out of different dimensions, and I think that there's this world, like I really believe this. I think that when you step into this realm that we can't step into when they do, there are all kinds of wicked, disgusting creatures. I really believe that. And I think we as humans can't even see what half of these things look like because it's so terrible and terrifying. They wouldn't be able to show themselves. Like people would probably die of fright.
That makes a whole lot of sense to me, and I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I look at everything in a biblical lens. I do, and I've never hid that on this channel. I never will. It's my faith is super important to me, and so it's got to fit in that box for me. And so I think that sure there can be just flesh and blood creatures. I think maybe there are that are just flesh and blood, but I think there's a whole lot of these things that are more than that, and it totally makes sense. But it's strange to me how they're all connected. They seem to be always around those three things. It seems like there's a connection there. But I know you mentioned Dogman, and if you're open to it, I know that's a pretty scary thing, but I would love to hear about that encounter if you're open to share it.
Definitely. Okay. So I've got to be, I think I was between the ages of 17 and 19. This was man, I'm 33 now, so it's a very long time ago. But me and my friends, we would go to different locations to do like ghost hunting. These places that we went to, oftentimes, like you could tell it was pretty dark, like kind of demonic feeling, like vibes. Like we would seek out the worst places, and it was really terrible. And I've dabbled in some things that I'm really glad like God has shown me so much grace for. But we ended up at this cemetery one night, and it was in I'm trying to remember. It was by Air. Air Mass, you probably don't know it, but it's this town that's also like very woodsy, not much going on. And back then, it was even quieter than today. Today, like there's like more like cement roads, like back then, the road we were on literally didn't even have cement on it. It was dirt. So we all get out of our cars, like I'm in a group like of like three folks, like or teens, whatever. Um And then there's another car behind ours parked, and they come out with like three more kids. I pretty much only knew one of these people, but the rest of them, they were kind of like acquaintances. So I kind of separated myself from them because I used to be the kind of person that, like, if I'm going to catch something, all of this noise is like, it's too much. I'm going to stay away from like these kids. So I went off by myself, and I'm at the edge of the cemetery where there's this stone wall. Behind the stone wall and all around the cemetery, there's woods. Clearly, tons of trees, you know. It's fall, not too cold. We're all wearing sweaters, like pretty comfortable, and I'm at the corner, like kind of like at the end of this wall, and I hear a growl. And I thought, did I just hear that? Was that real? Like it was the kind of growl that like you don't really hear but you feel, if that makes any sense. It was like a grumble, like that was like deep resonating. I hear the growl. I start backing up, and I'm slowly backing up, hoping to hear it again just to be sure that I heard it. And lo and behold, it growls again. And that's where like I knew it was real. Like what I heard was real. And I walk over to the group that was probably like 60, maybe like 50 feet away from me, give or take. They're at a different spot and just, having fun. When I make it to them, I say, I think I'm ready to go. Like I'm nervous. I don't know why, but do you guys want to go? And they were like, no, yeah, we're ready too. For some reason, everybody was on board. I don't know what happened, but the vibe changed. Everybody wanted to go. So we made it to the cars. Like we walked across the cemetery. We got to the cars. We're all talking and chatting around the cars. And I'm facing, this is what's crazy. I think I told you this before. What's crazy is what I heard was on one side of the woods way back. But what I see is on across the street on the other side of different woods. So I wasn't sure if there was maybe more than one, or if it's maybe that it went like it walked so fast, or it ran across. I don't know what they do. Everybody's chatting, and I kind of zone out because I feel like I'm being like that feeling when you feel like somebody's looking at you and you just turn and look. And I'm looking at something, and I'm looking straight ahead, and what I'm seeing is red, very red, almost like lights. Like it's so, it doesn't feel like it's a color. It feels like it's a light. Kind of like a shine, like not, it's hard to even explain. Like you'd have to see it to understand it. But I'm looking at the eyes, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm looking at, and I don't realize what I'm looking at for it was quite a bit. It was probably like 30 seconds. Like I'm just staring. And I'm just staring, and everybody's talking, and I'm like so locked in, almost like unnaturally locked in. Like I'm just like looking for so long trying to figure out what this was. And I thought, huh, is that like I go, are those shiners in the woods? Like what is that? I don't know what I'm looking at. Um, but then it starts to turn. And when it starts to turn, I'm starting to see that one eye is kind of getting covered. So that's when I realize I'm looking at a being. And that's where I start to look around it. And as I'm looking around it, I'm seeing ears. And as it turned, I can see the mouth. The mouth is like that. Like the mouth is not, there's no, it's a dog. Um, it's exactly what you picture. Like when you see Dogman like videos online and everything, it's exactly what people describe it as. It's a person standing up. It's very big shoulders, chest. As it was turning, when it was turning, this thing knew that I was looking at it. And when it started to like kind of turn, I went, and that's when my friends turned and they were like, what? And I was like, what is that? And I'm looking at it, and it turned in such a slow way that it made me feel like I'm so insignificant. You are so powerless. I am going to walk really slow. I don't care about you. Like, it made me feel like it was just so indifferent to me. Like, it really, like, to all of us. It wasn't afraid of us going after it. It knew. I can just walk out of here, like, stroll, but the way that it turned, the shoulders, like, you can see everything. You can see every muscle, like, it's, this one, Bigfoot and this one are different. In the way that Bigfoot is very much like a chunky weight, and this one is stripped muscle, if you know what I mean. So, its shoulders are huge, but the rest of its body is very high school football player. You know what I mean? Just like a younger, like, but very tall, if you can imagine it. Um, all I saw was black. I have no idea what color it was. I can just see the silhouette of it and the eyes. Red, very red eyes, glowing. And I don't know what it was trying to tell me when it was looking into me, but when I tell you it was looking into me, afterwards, all night I felt this emptiness that wanted to be filled, like just this horrible, hollow, very unsure, like just I was scared. I was scared and there was no other way to describe it. Like I don't have still to this day when I think about it, I blocked that one for so many years. I didn't talk to anyone about that one until my brother-in-law came into my life and he was talking about Nephilim and he was bringing stuff up and he said something and I go, "I've seen one of those." And he was like, "You have?" And I was like, "I think I have." And he was like, "Tell me about it." And when I realized he would listen, that's when I finally, it was like waterfall, just like this, I need to let this out. And I told him every little detail about it. And that's how I feel now. When I have experiences, I want to tell about it. It feels good, it's like this burden on your chest, on your heart, in your mind. Like you have to unleash it. Like you have to.
Now, I agree with that 100%. It's one of the main reasons I started this channel is to give people a safe platform to share, because there's something about, as humans, when we share an experience, and somebody reciprocates, it gives you this feeling that you're not alone, you're not crazy. There's other people out there that can relate, especially with a traumatizing experience like that. And I think Dogman is on a completely different level than Bigfoot. Bigfoot, you can kind of go back and forth, like, are they Nephilim? What are they? Are they flesh and blood? There's a lot there, but I think Dogman is just pure evil. You're fortunate to make it out of there like you guys did, because that could have really went bad. And I think these things thrive off of fear. You hear about them, people call them fear eaters. They live off of that. But, we know where those things come from. And I'm just glad that you're brave enough to come forward and to share that with our audience. And, I appreciate you just, being straightforward, sharing those encounters, those experiences. And, I really, really, really enjoyed that. So thank you for sharing that.
No, thank you so much. I've been so nervous, but I was so excited. I really wanted to just tell all and finally just kind of have it out there. And I really just want like a community. It's really like the reason that I've watched your videos, the reason I've watched others, and like it's really like this sense of like we are a part of something that other people aren't, and we just want to feel connected. And I really appreciate you giving me that.
Well, absolutely. You summed that up. That's the reason the channel's here, is to connect people that have had these encounters, and for people to be educated and to learn. I think kind of in a small way, you're saving lives, because people need to know these things are there, what they're dealing with. I always tell people all the time, if you're going out to the woods, make sure to never go alone. Have somebody with you. Let people know where you're going. And then also make sure you can trust the people that you're going out in the woods with, because you never know. But I appreciate you, watching and just, like I said, coming forward. Guys, thanks for hanging out tonight. I know that you enjoyed that. What an incredible encounter. And just to come forward with that story, it takes a lot of guts to do that. And you never know what is out there around your property and what's going on out in the woods. So make sure you keep your head on the swivel. And if you've got an encounter that you would love to come forward with, or just want to get it off your chest, I would love to hear about it. We've got a community that's going to be very supportive, and you never know what answers you might get by sharing your encounter. But you can always email me at mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. And after watching this episode, you guys know why I say what I always say, guys. Stay prayed up. We'll see you in the next episode.